know, your ass better call somebody. What's up, guys? Our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Just the Total Package and Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, the legacy of the New Age Outlaws. For our audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. Can you do us a solid on social media and follow us on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, O.W.P 2019, or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast.
Now that they're so dumb, they don't know how to use it anyway, so it doesn't matter what you say, dude.
Whoa, every time.
You could give them the actual, just letter for letter and pause, and they're like, they don't get it.
So all that to say, this spurred, I believe, how awesome New Age Outlaws was, and what how
I've
long
always
of a
said
tenure.
this.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I've always said this though. They had such a short flame. If you want to think about it in the grand scheme of things, but a lot of people don't realize. To me, the New Age Outlaws revitalized tag team wrestlings in WWF, and Vince never liked tag wrestlers. Vince always was like, what's the thing we've always said in past episodes? Oh, you got to pay him twice as much and all that stuff. And Bruce Pritchard said that too. But the New Age Outlaws came around when Vince was just trying to kind of I don't really care about tag wrestling. And then they came around right around the beginning of the formation of DX and the Attitude Era. And they kind of, to me, revitalized tag wrestling. Shortly after that came the Dudleys and the Hardy Boys. Not their careers, but their spotlights in WWE or WWF. Then after that, New Age Outlaws started this at the end of '97 and carried it on. People do not talk about the New Age Outlaws enough.
And not only that, so between the two of them, you have one guy that is a legacy wrestler who then became a producer and probably behind the scenes for many years after.
Now you have a guy who scissors people.
And the guy, Billy Gunn, who's in amazing shape and has been around since, I guess, 89 or almost 40 years.
I also did
and
this
is
too,
still
because, by the way,
going.
Billy Gunn just turned 59 and he looks 22.
Yes, and has the body of that. And that's because I remember seeing the notes come in and how Billy Gunn was 8 years before his debut in WWE, WWF at the time. It's these two guys were the right people for the right time and the right chemistry. Put them together, magic was made. And you still say the intro.
Oh, you didn't know?
Boom, you love it. And they were such a part of the Attitude Era and so important.
Yeah,
amazing.
So
And the
good.
perfect combination of Jim Johnston's music and talent and chemistry. Absolute legends.
Yep.
Catch us up on Spotify and Twitcher and Facebook.
Well,
What?
read on, you piece of shit.
Right.
Sorry.
I'm working on it. I'm
upset.
Bunch of gabbers.
Whoa.
A hen house in here. The Road Dogg Jesse James is the second generation wrestler and the youngest brother of the Armstrong family. He made his wrestling debut on December 1st of 1986. Following this, James put his wrestling career on hold to enlist in the United States Marine Corps in 1987. Thank you for your service. Upon his return to the ring, he would wrestle as enhancement talent until becoming Jeff Jarrett's roadie in 1994.
Never had a great body. The Armstrongs never were super thick, but at least Brad had muscles. You can see this guy had an uphill battle as,
Brad was the
as
guy
an
too
Armstrong.
that Brad was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
And I guess backstage, Brad Armstrong was super funny and had all charisma. And then when they would turn the cameras on, Brad was like, and it sucked because everyone who's told a story about Brad, rest in peace, by the way.
I didn't know Brad was gone.
Yeah, Brad's passed. I better fucking make sure of that because I'm pretty sure that Brad did pass. But yeah, everybody said that he was super funny backstage, one of the brightest guys in the backstage area, but when the light turned on, he just could not translate it.
Bullet Bob, I know it passed. That's the dad, right?
Yes, he died on November 1st, 2012. Brad did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn became a professional wrestler after a stint as a professional bull rider. That sounds right.
Dude, you want to beat your body up before you go into wrestling? Be a fucking bull rider. How many?
Everything's fine.
Jeez, how is he still standing?
He was in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association.
Silly.
But left that profession in his early 20s in order to pursue a career as a professional wrestler. If you have a choice, I would say take the wrestling gig because that bull's going to mess you up every night. I think you made the right move. I'm just saying. Billy wrestled on the indie circuit for 8 years. 8 years! Until signing with the WWF in 1993.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So he was 1985. He started, if that's correct, wrestling on the indies. And
somewhere around that, yeah.
Let's go ahead and say he is 37 years in the business, and he wrestled last week on AEW. 30.
He looks wonderful.
7 years, and I hurt my back raking one bag of leaves at 46 years old.
Sciatica kicks in, bro.
Continue.
Billy Gunn made his WWF debut on the May 17th, 1993 episode of Raw, teaming with his on-screen brother, Bart Gunn, as the Smoking Guns. You love them. They wrestled in jeans. It was great.
I like them.
They were okay.
I do like them.
Well, there's certain things about each one later where you respect them, but when they came out, you're like, this is not going to work.
I see. I can't remember what. Jess, would we say back then we didn't respect them? I would say yes,
when
right?
When we first saw them,
we didn't
it was
like
a
them.
definite departure. Like 93 began a depression era for American wrestling.
Yes.
And so, like, when we saw them, we're like, whatever. But Dave's going to read on. Like, I grew to respect them. They were really good wrestlers.
Yes.
Like, they were a good tag team.
But we didn't respect them when we watched them at your house when they came down, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's our bad, Bart and Billy. Our bad.
That's Craig's bad.
What?
But they, meaning, Billy and Bart, would win the WWF Tag Team Championships on 3 occasions. They would split up in 1996, and Gunn would become a rock.
USA.
What's it, Rockabilly?
USA.
Yeah, Gunn changed his name to Rockabilly, and he was managed by Honky Tonk Man.
I missed that.
Don't remember that.
Gimmick failed horribly. And then we get the formation of the New Age Outlaws.
Friend, you are not a loser, so me and you together. Oh, I smell money. I smell money. Willie Will, are you with me?
And he's going to tell you, Willie Will, are you with me or not?
Well, what's the answer? Well, he's nodding. It looks like Billy's with Honky.
I'm going to solve your problem.
Jesse James.
Oh, look out, look out.
Oh. Rockabilly just gave Honky Tonk Man the answer. And he's gonna put an exclamation point on it.
He broke the Honky Tonk.
Don't answer your question, Road Dog. I just don't know what will.
He broke the Honky Tonk Man.
They quickly rose to the top of the
Sorry,
tag ranks and won the tag team championships from the Legion of Doom. Wow. On November 24th of 1997.
Wait a minute! Oh my God! What a chair shot! And the roll up! Wait a minute! No ref! No, wait a minute! Wait a minute! I can't believe it! We've got new tag champions!
They also got their Outlaws nickname, Craig, when they stole the win and ran to the waiting car, prompting Raw announcer Jim Ross to liken them to Outlaws, leaving the robbery. The name stuck in the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, they're like new, and then also they have ages. They're all ages, and then they're outlaws, and it's crazy. King, he's like, I can't believe it. I love them. I think they're great. I can't wait. They're despicable.
But I get it. They are outlaws in an age of newness. Ooh, puppies.
It's word salad. It's word salad.
T-shirts available next week.
With LOD. With LOD, the Outlaws became acquainted with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, collectively known as D-Generation X, and assaulting the team on an episode of Monday Night Raw, including shaving off one of the Road Warrior Hawk's mohawks. Wow.
That's hilarious.
Throwing Road Warrior Animal through the announcers table.
It happens.
That's definitely taking down some kings.
You know what? Not Animal's fault.
It started here, and like, it's crazy. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Obviously, it was good, but I don't know the backstage relationship between Shawn and Triple H and those other two, Billy and Road Dogg. Obviously, it was good, and they were just kind of like, yeah, let's write him in the storyline. Let's do that. Because I remember before they got anointed as DX members, I remember a famous scene that Dave's going to talk about. And that's when I knew, like, oh shit, like that's kind of cool. And it was just a really cool segment of Triple H and Shawn Michaels kind of anointing them on screen. But backstage, obviously here, they were supporting these guys in the backstage, going, push them hard as a tag team. Let's make them a new deal.
Yeah, and because they knew it was working, right? So after beginning a feud with Cactus Jack and Terry Funk in the early year of '98, the team was confronted by DX, who told them they needed to start making waves by acting more controversially. In response to this, the Outlaws locked Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie into a dumpster and threw it off the entrance ramp onto the concrete floor. I remember that.
That's what I remember, and I also remember
that's the moment
after they did it. Yeah, after they did it. So when they did that, they had Road Dogg and Billy Gunn kind of act human, like, what do we do? What do we do? And I'll never forget, in a separate backstage vignette, Shawn and Triple H coming up to them and going, why are you guys feeling sad? Who cares? Nobody cares about you. You guys look out for each other. Like, don't worry about that. Stop acting like it's sad that you did that. They deserved it. And it was an awesome, like, segment. I'll never forget that. And as a fan, I was like, dude, that was fucking kind of cool. And like, now this new tag team had instant respect on their name because Shawn and Triple H were like, dude, fuck this company. Fuck what fans think.
Awesome.
You guys do it. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really good.
JR, we don't have a whole lot of opportunity in this business to get over. So maybe you do. When you see a target of opportunity, maybe you attack it. Maybe we went too far.
They've got
maybe
families.
we did, JR.
They've got families.
Well, I got family too, and you think I don't understand that?
Hey, I got news for you guys. Every week, we're asked to go out there and outdo ourselves. Every week, we're asked to go out there and take greater risks. Push the envelope, raise the bar, get those ratings. I got news for you. That's exactly what the Generation X does. But I know the question, where does it end? Where does it end? Hey, Ross, you tell us. Where does it all end? Why don't you ask your boss, Vince McMahon? Maybe the fans can tell us.
If it wasn't them, it would have been you guys.
That's right.
It would have been you guys. You want to fight us, go ahead, but you guys got to smarten up. Suck it up,
You're getting ratings, and that's what matters.
And it goes
that's
like
all you need to think about. Think about yourselves, get those ratings, push the bar,
This is the WWF.
Push it higher, push it higher.
At WrestleMania 14, the New Age Outlaws lost the titles to Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie in a dumpster match.
Fantastic.
The next night on Raw, however,
fantastic.
with the aid of Triple H and X-Pac, the Outlaws regained the titles.
Not so fantastic.
Steel cage
Not
match
so fantastic.
And officially joined DX. Good stuff. It's a turning moment.
At least they got the WrestleMania moment before they got hosed by Shawn.
Officially did it. It was the night after WrestleMania 14. Stone Cold beat Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels leaves for 4 years at that point.
Bye.
And then Triple H got anointed the next night on Raw in one of the most famous Raws ever, where he brought X-Pac back, and because he left. So that was like the first. It's so funny, like. We talk about the tide of wrestling now. When AEW first started, they pulled everybody over, and then when Cody came back over to WWE, in the last year, like everyone's like, "Oh my God, the tide kind of turned back." And I remember like the same thing, like WCW had been stomping them and taking all their stars and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, X-Pac comes back. He was a member of the NWO. He got injured, and then Bischoff fired him by FedEx, and then they got him back. So the night after WrestleMania 14. X-Pac comes back. He's like, I'm part of the DX. And like, it was kind of the first thing where like, holy shit, like he was on WCW. He was NWO. And now he's coming back over. He's the first guy before, I think this was right before, like 2 or 3 weeks before they finally beat the 83-week streak. And like X-Pac comes over and you're like, oh, I remember specifically WrestleMania 14 being like a game changer. And you felt like after Shawn left, like Triple H took the leadership of DX. New Age Outlaws were there, and they get X-Pac, and like it started a whole new DX. Like
Stone Cold
to me,
going over is a huge part.
This
of
was
that,
the most successful portion of DX. Like DX was really good here.
JR, and when you start an army,
when you set out to do what no one else can do, the first thing you do is you look to your blood. You look to your buddies. You look to your friends. You look to the clique.
What?
Yeah!
Well, look who's back. What a coup has been pulled off here, JR! A new day is dawning for DX.
You have DX coming underneath, and you have Stone Cold on top. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Their growing popularity of the new DX quickly turned the group from heels to tweeners, eventually becoming faces, and they feuded with many different tag teams over the course of 1998. Their immense popularity was part of what helped the WWF challenge World Championship Wrestling for ratings supremacy during the Monday Night Wars. As 1999 started, the Outlaws slowly began to drift apart, with each man striving for singles gold. Road Dogg held both the Hardcore title and the Intercontinental Championship for the first few months of 1999, including the successful IC title defense at WrestleMania 15, and Gunn briefly held the Hardcore title as well. In March, the pair started to team once again, leading to a match with Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart at Backlash in April. A week later, Gunn turned heel on Road Dogg, resulting in a feud and a match at Over the Edge. And that following month, Gunn went on to win the King of the Ring tournament in the fall.
Yeah,
of
they tried
1999.
splitting them for a while or whatever, and you
Doesn't
got to
work.
try, right? Road Dogg had tons of charisma. So did Billy Gunn. And
They were
it's
good.
just a really perfect example of like when you split them, it may work, it may not. It kind of didn't, and
No.
like they tried, but like at the same time, like, hey man, I remember Gunn winning the
Kind
title.
of like New Day now. You could try to split them, but it doesn't.
This team was always
know.
better than the sum of its parts, and this just kind of proved it. Like this period here.
I remember Billy Gunn winning the King of the Ring tournament, and they put him in the feud with The Rock like right after, and I remember Gunn kind of choking, and and then they go right back to the tag team right afterwards. It's weird.
Although I do love the Mr. Ass theme song. I know this is way down
I
the
do
road,
too.
So
but
good.
there's nothing better than an I'm an ass man.
Yeah.
They tried. They tried.
During the fall of 1999, the Outlaws reunited, first as faces, but then as heels when they rejoined the reformed and now heel DX. No Way Out saw the final end of the Outlaws when Gunn received a serious arm injury during the match with the Dudley Boys. Gunn was soon kicked out of DX after losing his cool and getting into a fight with all of the DX members. In reality, he needed to have serious surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff. That's horrible. There's not too many injuries that are worse than that.
Now, Billy, that means DX, Dog, and X-Pac, not you.
What are you talking
You're
about?
going to get your deal done, and obviously you're in no position
What are you
to do
talking about? Let me tell you something. With one arm, I'm twice as good as you'll ever be. Don't tell me I'm not ready. I can take this off when I want. I don't know what y'all's problem is.
You're taking this the wrong way.
How am I taking this the wrong
Just
way?
relax. Listen to me for a second. Billy, what the deal is...
Hey! What the hell? DX has beaten up their own man!
Come on!
DX has beaten up a one-armed badass Billy Gunn!
The two would reunite one more time as faces at Survivor Series, teaming up with is it K Quick and former DX teammate
R-Truth.
China.
That was R-Truth.
Yep. Oh, that's K Quick.
K Quick. That's awesome. Right. Holy shit.
Against the Radicals in a traditional Survivor Series match. Road Dogg was released from WWF contract in early 2001 due to ongoing drug issues, while Gunn was released in 2004 after 11 years with the company. Wow. Then we jump into TNA. So go ahead.
Yeah, before we do that, though, I just want to say, Road Dogg went through a lot of drug issues and corrected himself, and it's pretty awesome. And, you could say what you want about TNA's legacy, and I think one day I have to get up the gumption to write like a legacy of TNA because it's really important. And a lot of guys, including Kurt Angle, got to go to TNA when they were trying to gain notoriety. Booker T went there. A lot of wrestlers went there when they were either healing
Samoa Joe
injuries or
came
trying.
out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, WWE guys like going over there trying to like heal injuries or trying to get better with their ailments or whatever. And Kurt Angle unfortunately got worse, but then he got better. And it's just kind of like we're gonna yada yada a little bit past the T. Dave will read some paragraphs here about TNA, but I don't mean to yada yada past TNA. It's important, like, and we will do one day, like I said, a TNA legacy.
And you can argue TNA saved a lot of wrestlers, man.
They paid guys and girls. They paid guys and girls outside of WWE to do the craft, and they had less dates, and a lot of them ended up like not curing. That's the wrong word, but fixing their drug addictions and helping themselves out and healing injuries. And I think that like TNA is not spoken enough about how they helped a lot of wrestlers change and get better and wrestle less dates
with with fewer dates and taking their time and healing their bodies and and even like reading Road Dogg's a guy that like inspirational for reading his Instagram account or his Twitter account of how he does celebrate his sobriety and still offers up and reminds people where he was and how you can change and how you can always turn it around. So I love following Road Dogg, even through his years as a producer and even losing his job and still staying humble. He always never forgot where he came from and how he recovered and focused on recovery.
He's doing behind the scenes now with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
So good.
They're running the show. DX is running the show, by the way, right now. Fantastic stuff. All right. They, meaning, I don't know. They both resurfaced in TNA Wrestling on January 14th of 2006. Kip James and BG James, now calling themselves the James Gang, announced they had reunited in the face of Conan. He always has to find his way into a goddamn podcast.
Wait, Conan brought the New Age Outlaws back?
Conan and his
it was an angle
LAX. Yep, attacked BG's real life father, Bullet Bob Armstrong. Their official in-ring reunion took place the next night at Final Resolution, where they defeated the Diamonds in the Rough. On November 2nd edition of Impact, Kip and BG James cut a worked shoot promo announcing they were quitting the company out of frustration. During that promo, BG claimed that TNA had mismanaged him during his run there, and as Kip attempted to speak into the microphone, it was cut off. Attempts to use an announcer's microphone and scream directly to the crowd were met with another microphone cutting, and the show abruptly went to commercial. On the November 16, 2006 Impact, they announced they had been given a creative control where they were changing their name to the Voodoo Kin Mafia, VKM for short.
Oh, wow.
Vince McMahon's initials, declaring war on the WWE.
We're back, Jack, and we're back in black. We see we're back for one reason and one reason alone. And in the business, we call that reason creative control. Now, what creative control means is that now the Voodoo Kin Mafia, or VKM for short, now not only has the ability, you see, now we have the permission to do anything we damn well please.
Who gave them permission?
During the war, because we know this is not a war, if we're being real about it, they called out the revived D-Generation X DX, calling it a failure and stating the original run was saved by their insertion as the New Age Outlaws in 1998. During their matches and promos on TNA television, they continually included references to DX, including the use of their signature taunts and maneuvers. Talk about this one. This is the one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they did it. For the most part, their TNA run was very successful, and they got a chance to interact with talent they had never faced before.
Yeah, so they did a lot of stuff here, whatever. Like under Jarrett's guys, like they tried to call it out. Conrad on his podcast with Jarrett's like, is it really smart to call out WWE and like make reference to them? And Jarrett's like, yeah, like, look, we knew we were number 2, so we had to do stuff like that. But Conrad's like, but still though, like if you're trying to be better, Like, why call out any competition? And he's like, because like they were famous from WWE. Everybody knew they were famous from WWE. If we didn't call that out, like people would be kind of like, well, we all know where they were from.
Why are you not?
And
Why
so
are you
he's like,
not?
yeah, they tried it, and like that angle may kind of flopped a little bit or whatever, but they tried to call out DX, and that was at the time where DX. Craig, you went to that event at SummerSlam where DX came out on the tank, and it was just Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So that was during that time where they called them out, and they were just like, "Oh, like we were the reason why DX was successful. We were the cool guys. Like they needed us and all that stuff." So it's just kind of they were just trying to compete. That's all it was. But
I feel
they
like in
did
my
have a
mind
little.
though, he could. They call Triple H and say, "Hey man, we're gonna do this. Are you cool?"
Very, very probably, and I just wanted to list their
I
TNA
guarantee you,
wrestling.
Paul's like, do what you got to do.
Yeah. I didn't want to go into the distance of like their TNA career here, but they had a little run and they tried it and they won, I don't even
Sure.
think they won the titles to be honest. But like they were just trying to be like they were trying to be when you have a rival company that's trying to start up, like it's when AEW hires people from WWE, people critique them and I'm like, "Why?" WWE is such an international brand. They put people's face on their television. If you hire someone from WWE, why would you not celebrate them and put their face on your program because people recognize them and do it. So TNA was doing the same thing with New Age Outlaws. They were like, people recognize them from the Attitude Era. Why would we not like pitch them and hype them and populate them? So look, their TNA run is what it was. I feel it was really good. It was fine.
There you go. We got the return to WWE on July 23rd of 2012. The New Age Outlaws returned to the homeland, the promised land, on the 1000th episode of Raw to reunite with X-Pac, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H to reform D-Generation X. For one night only. They got $500 each.
No, stop. No, don't. Neither of you stop that. Please stop.
Yeah, you stop it. You wrote this. On March 4th of 2013, episode of Old School Raw, the New Age Outlaws competed in their first televised tag team match in WWE since February of 2000, where they defeated Primo and Ibako. And the following week on Raw, the New Age Outlaws answered a challenge to take on Rhodes Scholars. During the match, they were attacked by Brock Lesnar, who was in a feud with Triple H at the time. At the Royal Rumble 2014, the Outlaws defeated Rhodes and Goldust to become the WWE Tag Team Champions, their first reign with those particular titles, but their sixth overall Tag Team Championship reign in WWE in the first in over 14 years.
Oh, he doesn't realize that Billy Gunn has made the tag, and Billy Gunn the famous he's the legal man. Here's the cover. WWE Tag Team Champions. We have seen history. What?
Here are your winners and the new WWE Tag Team Champions, the New Age Outlaws.
Are you kidding me?
Marking the longest time between reigns in WWE history. And then at WrestleMania 31, the Outlaws, along with X-Pac and Shawn Michaels, assisted their DX partner Triple H in defeating Sting. They also fought against the NWO, who had come in to aid Sting. I still am mad at that, but that's okay. Sting should have won that.
Yeah, different topic, but yeah, like the New Age Outlaws were super important to me. Like they really were. I remember as a fan, it's easy to kind of, we do a combination of both, right? We do when we revisit like all these past episodes or pay-per-views or topics or wrestlers, we talk about how we feel now. But I like to talk about how I felt then. And how I felt then, I remember when I watched the New Age Outlaws rise to prominence, I was like, dude, these guys are onto something. Like you felt it every time they came out. Oh, you didn't know? Like, and the whole thing was such a great play. The crowd sang along. Like, these guys were super fucking popular and over.
I
and
even though they're about how Road Dogg announces them in the beginning when he comes in. It's amazing.
I really want to. I don't think people talk about the New Age Outlaws enough. They were a very influential tag team. in at the beginning of the Attitude Era that people do not talk about. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. And we talk about like Demolition. A lot of people look back at Demolition and be like, oh, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I was like, did you really know? Think about the years that Demolition dominated. Like 3 years. That's it. 3 years. But we still talk about
Yeah.
Demolition to this day as like, oh my God, Demolition, Demolition. I was like, dude, they were only around from like 88, or well, they started a little bit in 87, 88, 89, and they lost their titles in 90, and they just kind of faded out after that. So Demolition was only really around for like 3.5 years, and people still talk about them as one of the greatest WWF tag teams of all time. How can you not talk about New Age Outlaws in that same kind of time frame, 3 to 4 years? That was their light. That was they shined. You know, and they came back and they had some retro stuff like Dave just talked about. And Dave will talk about their championships and accomplishments, which isn't a lot because they were only around for like
It
4
was a
years.
short time.
So yeah.
It was a really short time they were together. I mean, right now, let's go into PWI. Like, PWI ranked them 43rd of the 100 best tag teams of the PWI years. I think that was in 2003 that was published. PWI ranked them tag team of the year though in 1998. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then in WWE, they held the tag team championship one time. They had the WWF Hardcore Championship 3 times. Road Dogg held it once. Billy Gunn held it twice. The Intercontinental Championship was twice. They each held it one time each. And the WWF World Tag Team Championships, they held it 5 times. It's a big deal. And then obviously they are inducted into the 2019 Hall of Fame as members of D-Generation X. And I think this is the controversy that we all talked about earlier. Like, well, I think Road Dogg said it. We're not going to be inducted on our own. And I would challenge that. I would think that could change. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You give it a few.
Yeah,
years.
I want to talk about these guys because a lot of people don't talk about them. To me, they revitalized tag team wrestling in WWE.
They're great.
Or WWF, at the time. Because WWF was just really, Vince never really cared. Again, the whole thing is like, I don't like tag team wrestlers who have to pay twice the money. So if I can get one singles wrestler that I pay separately in a contract, and another singles wrestler,
it's such a
put them
dumb way
together,
to look at it
that's
though,
great.
because you're gonna pay them all anyway if they're in the back or not.
And the funny thing is, though, Dave, he ended up doing that with New Age Outlaws. He took a rockabilly and a roadie, and he's like, just I don't know what to do with them. Put them together, and then they got together, and they're like,
not to sound like a dick though. Like, how many times at the end of a Raw we see fucking 3-on-3 of all these individual guys fucking tagging up anyway? Yeah,
New Age Outlaws should be celebrated. Really, like I'm glad I did a legacy on them, like because they deserve it. They really do.
I love it. Good stuff. We'll leave it there for audio. Oh, sorry. Now.
But now, you know?
You didn't know? You know. You better call somebody.
We should be regarded as one of the best wrestlers, somebody. Yeah, and then Scissor. I love that both of them have a career afterwards, and they're both making great money right now. It's awesome.
I love it. I love it. For audio fans, give us a listen to Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook.
Just be lazy like you normally are.
Whoa. For Jess, Craig, and myself, this is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.